Greetings everyone, and welcome to Batocera Nation, the #1 fan site and channel for Batoceras. So glad you could join us. Today I'm going to provide an installation guide for Xenia running in Batocera. Now, before you get too excited, I should stress that Xenia runs a lot better in Windows than it does in Linux. This is true because there are no major Linux builds for Xenia, and Vulkan support for Xenia has been weak compared to DirectX 12, although Vulkan support has been improving. Consequently, Xenia for Batocera, or for Linux for that matter, is not yet ready for prime time. Indeed, it might be another year or so before we can get decent Xenia emulation for Linux. For the time being, however, there's a small library of 2D games and a few 3D games that will work in Xenia for Batocera. So again, please don't have any high expectation that Xenia Batocera will run the same as it does in Windows, because it won't. With that out of the way, we can proceed with our tutorial. Are you ready? Let's do it! Before we begin, I need to thank developers Atari and Daniel Martin for providing me with Xenia builds. I ultimately decided to go with a Xenia build that I found from Mini Cake TV because it allows us to play with XBLA games as well as regular Xbox 360 games. In addition, I tested Xenia on an Intel i7 1165G7 running on a Nvidia Mobile RTX 2060 graphics card, as well as on a Steam Deck. Indeed, you will see both results for a comparison perspective. Consequently, as a result of these tests, I highly recommend that you run Xenia on a PC system with a discrete graphics card for best results. If you have integrated graphics, then you should run it using AMD or Intel chips from the last two generations as a bare minimum. Otherwise, you will have poor results. Alright, let's get to it. So the first thing you're going to need is some system files that will make Xenia run in Batocera. Okay, so go to archive.org and then type Xenia Batocera, and it's this one right here. Okay, there are no games here at all or whatsoever. So go ahead and download that, and go ahead and unzip it. And these are the files. You have the copy to Batocera. Okay. Once again, there are no games here. Now, in terms of the info text, these are the extensions that Xenia will accept in the emulator. Okay. These right here. Go ahead and close that out. All right, let's go back. Let's go to the system. Xbox 360. Xenia. And this is the configuration file. Go ahead. Let's go down to the bottom. All right. So this is right now set to USA. All right. 103 is USA. Okay. You can change this to any other country from the list that's already provided here. Okay. And then of course for language, right now it's set to English. Of course, you can also change it to one of these other languages as well. All right. That's the only thing you really need to change from the configuration file. All right. Let's go ahead and close that out. Let's go back. Now, Xenia for Batocera runs two types of games. It runs the disc games, and it also runs the XBLA games, okay? This game right here is an XBLA game, okay? And this is the format I normally will see it. Okay, and there's the file right here, okay? So what you need to do is go ahead and take this file, cut, and bring it to the main folder right here. Paste it. This, you can go ahead and delete it. You don't need no more. And here, you have to create a dummy text file. And then name it based on the game itself. Gallagher Legions. Give her the TXT extension and just rename it to X360. Yes. And that's it. Okay. You got to do that for all the XBLA games. Otherwise, it will not work. And I'll show you about Batocera how this runs. Okay. Now this right here is a disk-based game. And sometimes you'll see them like this. Default.xex, okay? You can rename this. Go ahead and call it Resident Evil. Evil HD. All right. This makes it easy for scraping. So again, any game folder that has an extension of default.xex, go ahead and rename it. Okay. Now, in terms of the actual games themselves, that can't help you there, but I do highly encourage you to go ahead and watch this video from Retro Game Course. Russ does an excellent job how you can essentially rip your games from an Xbox 360 and then copy them so that Xenia will be able to load them up. Okay. So I will be leaving a link in my video description. So again, watch this. He does an excellent job and it's rather easy and straightforward to do this. Okay. Now then, in terms of the games which are compatible, also will leave you a link for this. This will take you to this website. And this right here is not very clear, but what you can do is go into labels and then look for this right here, state playable. Click on that and it'll organize all this material. And this will tell you which games are playable, okay? Unfortunately, not all the games which are playable in Windows version of Xenia are going to be playable on the Batocera version of Xenia. Some games, no matter what you do, are simply not going to work. All right? And I also encourage you to also look at this video, 50 of the most playable games in Xenia. Also, will be leaving a link for this as well. The last link I want to also leave you with is option configuration page, okay? And this is for the configuration file, and it explains some of the different settings you can change, all right? So take a look at that if you want to experiment, if you want to mess around with things. All right, let's go ahead and copy these files into Batocera. I'll show you where to copy them, and let's do some game testing. All right, so in Batocera, let's go ahead and press F1 on your keyboard. And there's my portable drive. And there's my Xenia files. Just select these two right there. Copy. Go to your share folder. And just paste it right there. And that's it. Override. Yes. Apply for all existing files. And I'll go ahead and override it. And that's it. It's done. Quite simple. Go into your games folder. And there should be an Xbox 360 folder. And there it is. You copy your games in here. Okay? Simple. All right. Go ahead, File, close Windows. Once you copy your games, just go ahead and again, Game Settings, update Games List. You're good to go. And there it is. Okay? All right, so before we start, let me emphasize that this system is the Intel i7-1165 G7 running again on the Nvidia Mobile RTX 2060 graphics card. Okay. Now to set up the emulator, go ahead and press Select on your gamepad. Go into Advanced System Options. For the emulator, go ahead and pick Xenia. I'm going to show you for the other games, for the XBLA games, when to choose that. Okay. But for the most part, we're going to go ahead and choose Xenia. Okay. For video mode, go ahead and pick 720p because that's a native resolution of the Xbox 360. Okay. This, don't worry about this at all. All right. Back out. And I've got the ones highlighted, the ones that work. All the ones at the bottom, all these here, they do work. They don't work. Actually, this one does work, but it's really slow. It eventually slows down too much. Okay. So let's go back to the top. And this one here works both on this system as well on the Steam Deck. Go ahead and select it. And of course, on the Nvidia system, it's going to run a little bit faster. Okay. This game here does not run at all on the Steam Deck, but it does run on the Nvidia system, even though the graphics are not 100% perfect. Let me go ahead and show you some gameplay.
Penguins on ice. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
This girl can throw her weight.
Hold up there, Fudge Bucket. Sliding by ya. See you later, Ogre. Who's the cat?
This game here runs really well both on the Nvidia system along with the Steam Deck. This game here does not run at all on the Steam Deck, but it does run well on the Nvidia system. So let me go ahead and show you some gameplay. So you can see that it runs really smooth, not any problems. Now this game here runs really slow on the Steam Deck, but it runs really well on this Nvidia system. So let me go ahead and show you some gameplay. Now this game here runs well on both the Steam Deck and on the Nvidia system. Let me show you some gameplay. Alright, so this game does not run well on the Steam Deck. There's some missing graphics, but it does run really well on the Nvidia system. And furthermore, this is one of those XBLA games. So in order to play those games, you have to hold down the A or the B button on your gamepad, and then from there go to Advanced Game Options. And from there, go ahead and choose this right here. This is true for the XBLA games. If you leave it on this one, it's not going to work. Okay? Let me go ahead and show you some gameplay.
August 4th, 2219, Albion VU.
And this game also runs well on both systems. However, it does run faster and better on the Nvidia system. Let me show some gameplay. Alright, the rest of these games do not run at all on the Nvidia system. We also have this game right here. This game here does run and graphics look really good, but it does run a bit slow. And these two games do not run at all on the Nvidia system, but they do run really well on the Steam Deck, and I'll show you that as well. And that's it. So let me go ahead and show you some gameplay on the Steam Deck. Alright, so with my Steam Deck, let's go ahead and look at these games over here. This is a game that's almost there. And Windows looks beautiful, but unfortunately Linux is just not there just yet. In fact, I think it plays better here than it does my Nvidia system. I think the graphics look a little bit better. Let me just go ahead and just show you.
Talisman and Garuda 2 Shamrock. We are currently in a state of emergency. Our nation is under attack by unknown forces. Do whatever you can to fend off the invasion.
Garuda 2, roger that. Garuda 1, you call the shots.
This is Commander Whitlover of the 15th Squadron. The enemy is expanding its field of attack. Stay alert.
Garuda 1, there's too many of them. Use your SP weapon.
All ships to terminate enemy forces over the bay. Get those anti-air guns ready for battle.
Focus all anti-aircraft fire on those bombers. Don't let them get any closer.
Enemy aircraft are circling overhead. We hit around this.
Alright, you can see that again. The graphics look quite gibberish. This is why I say that Xenia is not ready for prime time in Linux. Alright, let's go ahead and proceed with some other games here. Again, these two games do not work in my Nvidia system, but for some reason they work rather well in my Steam Deck. Let me just go ahead and show you.
Get him! Look!
Target locked.
I'm going in!
Not again! Put away! No! Not again! Look out!
Alright, so I should give you an idea of these two games. However, I have noticed that Pac-Man 2 does tend to crash once in a while randomly. I can't figure out why it does that. But the first one doesn't crash at all. Well, that's a wrap. I hope that you got a good taste of what's possible with Xenia and Batocera. I truly wish we had better Xenia performance, but it's just a question of time before we get there. Hopefully by next year. In either case, if you found this video useful, please go ahead and like it. That would really help me out with YouTube's algorithms. If this is your first time watching a video from Batocera Nation, then I highly encourage you to check out our YouTube channel, as well as our website at batoceranation.com. That will give you a great overview of what Batocera is all about, and whether this will meet your emulating needs. Finally, I want you to know I've got a lot more videos coming up, so therefore please consider subscribing so that you'll stay on top of the latest and greatest of Batocera. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on Batocera Nation. Bye.